Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of All the Mod 10 to the Skies. So, I did a little bit more of the applied energistic stuff off camera just to kind of get ourselves started for this episode so we can craft the crystal assembler. So what I went ahead and did is I made something called a directional growth accelerator, and how you make this is you get two acceleration cards, which we made in the last episode, Fluix Pearl, which is just an Ender Pearl and some Fluix stuff, some Netherite, or formation core, which is pretty easy to make, and a growth accelerator. And the growth accelerator is also pretty easy to make, just iron, glass cables, and quartz glass. And whenever you power it from below, it makes it so that whatever direction you have it set to, this will grow really fast. So whenever I break this, this will grow like almost right away until this thing gets fully used up. So what we can do now that we have some intro crystal is we can throw some of this in the crushing factory. So we'll just go ahead and throw 8 in there and then speed it up. So now that that's going, to make the intro infused ingots, we can do the in-world transformation just like last episode, which is intro dust, gold ingots, and lapis. Throw all that stuff in here, and now we just watch, and the 4 ingots get created. So now that we have these 4 ingots, we can go ahead and head back down here. What we're going to do with the 4 ingots is we're going to make a crystal assembler, and you need to make the extended machine frame, which is just 4 ingots, 2 iron, 2 copper, and quartz. And then we can go ahead and make the extended machine frame. And the crystal assembler just takes these logic processors, some cables, and grab some of these processors and the crafting terminal. And now we can make ourselves a crystal assembler. And these things are very handy in this mod pack. What they do is you can make tons of different things with this. Like you can make the circuit slicer, which I'd like to make next if possible. Make sky steel ingots. Throw all this down in here. Sky stone, iron, and crystal. And then we need to go get ourselves a bucket of lava. So now we've got ahead and got our lava, we can go ahead and put that in there. And now this is going to start creating. We can just steal some acceleration cards and toss these guys in here. And now it's going to make all these skystone ingots. We can grab those. And now we have these ingots. We can make this inscriber press. So this is all 4 of these and a slime ball. And with this guy, we can make a circuit slicer. It just takes another extended machine frame, that, 8 of these processors, and a stone cutter. And we can go ahead and make one of these with these intro crystals. And you can make this in the crystal assembler now. So intro, gold, lapis, and water. So we can go ahead and I'm pretty sure once you just break that, you can place it back down and then it removes whatever liquid you have in there. That works just for now. So we can go grab ourselves a bucket of water, or 2 buckets of water, so we can make an infinite water source down there. And then we can throw these 2 buckets of water on here. Grab some water. Throw this in here like that. And then you can grab your intro dust, your gold, and your lapis. Toss all that in here. And now this is just going to create these ingots. We can go ahead and make another extended machine frame. Just grab our copper back out. One of these. And then you can grab all of your presses. But before you sacrifice your presses to this recipe, a good thing to do is to just make another one with a block of iron. So you just grab a bunch of iron out. Make that. And then just throw this guy in here. Perfect. And now you don't have to feel bad about sacrificing these guys. Go grab yourself a slime ball. Then you can make this thing here. And then you can make the slicer using this. That 8 of those, stone cutter. So we need 8 of the bigger circuits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then go make a stone cutter. And now that you've got all your supplies, I know my inventory is kind of a mess, you can go ahead and pull all this stuff out. Just like that. And then you can click on your circuit slicer. And you can see that it takes 8 of those, that, and that, and she can throw all that stuff in. And these 8, and now it's going to make your circuit slicer. This is another super handy thing early applied energistics, because whenever this thing receives power, which I think can make it so it takes it from the back, or you might have to put a pipe on the top of it. Okay, yeah, that works. So the circuit slicer, what you do with this is you can throw more acceleration cards, so we can steal these guys out of here. Throw these guys in here. And what you can do with this is you turn these silicon balls into blocks, just like that. You can throw these in here, and this turns them into it just like that. So you can do that with anything. You can do that with gold blocks. Like if I was to make gold blocks or diamond blocks even, just like that. And then throw these guys in here. It's going to cut them up really fast, and this is just so much more efficient than anything else you can do. Like just looking at that, I've like tripled the amount of circuits I have, and it's just super easy. So we're going to use this to make a bunch more drives, and we're going to start setting up a little auto crafting station over there. One more thing I want to add is that now that you have the crystal assembler, this thing basically completely replaces these inscribers. Whenever you throw this stuff in here, now you can just do that, and you can make 4 at a time rather than 1 at a time, and it's 10 times faster. With all these logic processors, we're going to make as many of these 1K storage components that we can, and we're just going to combine them all the way up into 256K as long as we make enough. So in between recordings, what I ended up doing is I ended up making myself a netherite backpack just so I could kind of move all my items from all my chests up top a lot easier. I ended up moving all my items into here, and you can see I can scroll through and pick out whatever I want. And I barely even touched the storage on one of these drives. So you can just see how handy the Applied Energistics mod is, like early to mid-game, because you can store everything in these things. What I want to get up to next is I want to start setting up a little bit of auto crafting. And what auto crafting does is if you look up pattern providers, which is just this. So you want to get basic pattern providers to start, which is just formation, annihilation cores, iron ingots, and crafting tables. So it's just the simple stuff, crystals, dust, processors. Whenever you make those, you can put them beside anything that's like a crafting interface. So anything like this, anything that you put an item into and you get a different item out of, you can put it beside it, and it will make that. It'll show a pattern in here, and you can, like, say I had a pattern provider beside my crystal assembler to make these calculation processors. I would put it there. It would show 4 of each of those, and it makes one of these, or 4 of these calculation processors. So you can get it to have a whole crafting tree for things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it out over here and then connect the system through the back. Now that we've got kind of this whole thing set up, I just want to show you guys kind of how powerful these gears mixed with the directional growth accelerator are. So you see how fast I can mine this? Like just like this with a fortune pickaxe, I'm able to get almost a stack of gold like extremely fast. So what I want to do next is I want to set up part of the Just Dire Things mod. Is called a advanced block breaker. So it's pretty cheap. It just takes Celestigems, which you have to get through raw Celestigem ore, which you need to make Void Shimmer Goo, which you need to get Dragon's Breath. To do that, we're going to have to go to the end. So unfortunately, we can't do that quite yet. But in the next episode, I think we're going to go to the end and we're going to fight the Ender Dragon. So we can go ahead and get some of the Dragon's Breath. And through one of the extractors, what you can do is with this, you can make Dragon's Breath just if you put an extractor on top of a dragon head. So you can get unlimited Dragon's Breath, which is pretty cool. So we're going to do that so we can get started on making a whole Geor setup next episode. What I want to do now is I kind of want to just make some more drives, and I want to just keep making more storage space so we have room to store all the items we're going to get from the mob farm and these Geors. Just in the ME system, you can see how kind of easy it makes crafting, because all the items are just stored in here, and then you can just put them all back. And you can just see how many items you can store in here with no problems. These 256K disk drives are really handy because they don't have types of items that you can store like the normal item storage cell. So with this, we're going to need to make cables. And with cables, you can run a pipe out of the back. So we're just going to run this around. If you run a cable out of the back of any of this, it works. And you can go ahead and kind of make yourself a crisscross shape, kind of like this. And what we're going to put here are things called assemblers. And how assemblers work is you put a pattern in these pattern providers, and these are almost like crafters. So if you go back in here and you make, we have 5 pattern providers, so we're going to make at least 5 of these. And now that you make these 5, you can go ahead and throw these in the opposite spaces. And see how these light up? It shows that they're online. So you can go ahead and stack this. Just make sure you do the opposite. So you want the pattern providers to not be touching each other. So you can do that, and then throw 2 more of these here. And then you can just go ahead and throw that one there along with that one. And now you'll get an achievement for that. So now you've got a network, and all of these should be online. Just make sure that they're all online. And see the pattern slot? So with the pattern slots, what you want to do is if you look up terminal, which is right here, you need something called pattern encoding terminal, which you need a crafting terminal and the processor, which we already have. So we can go ahead and make one of these. You can make a terminal, and then a crafting terminal, and then a pattern encoding terminal. And go ahead and throw another cable onto this guy here. And now you have the pattern encoding terminal on the left. And what you can do is you can put these blank patterns in here. And so say I want to be able to craft a crafting table. So if you go here, you click encode pattern on this. Go ahead and craft that. Now that you have this pattern, it shows that it's a crafting table pattern. You can go over here and throw it in any of these pattern providers. And now when you go in here and you look at crafting table, it should show the plus symbol. So say I have all these and I want to craft 10 crafting tables. You can't do it quite yet because you need something called storage processors. So now that we've got ourselves these processing units and crafting storage, we can kind of start the auto crafting. But whenever you're cabling stuff, if you want it to be a bit neater, you can use things called cable anchors that make it so they won't just connect if you want it to kind of look a little neater. And then over this way, what you can do is you can have your crafting process unit along with your crafting storage, just like that. And you can have another one right here. So now this has more storage. And crafting storage is required in crafting. So basically what it means, so I have 64K, 2 of them for crafting storage. And what they do is they basically make it the amount of items that the system can process at once. So now if I want to make a crafting table, I can go ahead and just make 10 of them just like that. It shows you what items it's going to use. And now the start button's not grayed out. And if you click start, it's just going to craft it like that. And there you go. 10 crafting tables just like that. So whenever you make lots of items, you're going to want to kind of start to make things into patterns. So that way you can auto craft stuff and you can have whole processes. So if you have something that takes like 3 items that you need before, you can have it so it crafts all 3 of those items and then crafts it together after. It's a pretty handy system, really. So just quickly, I ended up doing a couple little things. I made some more pattern providers and another crystal assembler. They're not quite hooked up yet. And I put an interface in the system. So how these work is they can input and export items as long as they're touching your main ME system. And I just put a sink, which is an unlimited water block, just to pipe into the system to fill it up with water quick, because this is going to be handy for our crystal assembler recipes. And because we have so much stuff going into this one little area, what we want to do is make ourselves some dense cable, just like that. And now that we have some of this, go ahead and pipe this into there. So now all of these should be powered. I'm not sure why this one says device missing channel. So what ended up fixing this and making these all be online again is you need to have it coming out of the controller. So I piped it out of the controller into these. So now these will be active. And what I want to do is put a Fluix crystal pattern into there. So if we go back in here and we want to craft Fluix crystal, we can go ahead, take all those out, and then say we want 100. We need to hook up the other stuff as well. So if we grab these cables and hook this up to over here, just like that. Now that's all in line. And now we should be able to make Fluix like this. So it's putting the items into here. And I need to turn on auto export to any of the pattern providers. So auto export, turn on to that. So now those created it, and now you've got the 100 flux in there all created. And we wanted that so we could make more of these cables. And the cables you need to make quartz fiber. So if we go ahead and create one of these patterns as well, and just go toss this guy in any one of these. Try and keep them separated so they're not all patterns in one provider, so that way they'll process faster. And you can also make the pattern for these cables here. So if we encode this pattern and toss this guy in one of these, now we should just be able to press that we want 100 of these. We have all the items. You can press start, and now slowly these should all start creating, which is pretty awesome. The ME system in this mod is amazing. Just the way it works in general is insane. It's such a massive mod. Like if you look up applied logistics, like there's so much stuff in this one mod, and it's so handy too. Like autocrafting makes this mod so much easier. It's really the only reason you'll ever be able to get to the end game in this. It's gonna become kind of annoying, but encoding patterns for all these, and then you can see the dense one, you encode the pattern for that as well, and the smart dense cable, you encode that pattern as well, and then you just go kind of scatter these patterns out into all these pattern providers. And now if I go in here and I look up dense cable, I want some smart cable, we'll just say I want 10, we have all the items, and now we can get this starting to go, and you can see that it's just going to craft for me right here, which it's amazing how this works. And this auto crafting setup can be used for pretty much any sort of crafting in this entire mod. And I also wanted to mention that I made these fluid cells that'll hold water, so we can actually use the crystal assemblers to craft, like Fluix crystal and that kind of stuff. But honestly, I think this is going to be it for this episode. We got pretty far. Next episode, I want to dive deeper into finishing this up, and I also want to dive into the Just Dire Things mod to set up auto mining and smelting for this for these gears, because these gears is one of the best ways to get ores in this game. Well, that's going to be it. Thank you guys for watching this episode today. I will catch you guys next time.